This is code.org, and we're continuing full steam ahead with our painter pattern class. If you don't have this stuff, go back and do the last bubble. You need it. All right, that being said, instantiate. I already did this last time, guys, because I wanted to test my code. But just to point out what you do for that, you create the data, you create PatternPainter, my PatternPainter. So this sets the data type. This is the name of the variable. This says equals new PatternPainter, which will execute, which will run the constructor from PatternPainter class. And that means we can do everything PatternPainter can do. And the super here means we can do everything Painter Plus can do and everything Painter can do, because Painter Plus inherits Painter. All right, so bam, we have that object. I use set paint, which gives the painter enough paint that we can test out our code. And then I ran. So this is where I'm at with mine. I did their square shape. I'm going to continue with what I said earlier, which is that I'm just going to try to do their thing exactly, because it's nice to have a tangible representation for students while I demo. All right, use my pattern painter to create the mural for your pattern. And so I had my pseudocode from this here. However, let's go back to this. And now I need the paint mural pseudocode. Now, as I said earlier, I am going to do this, but I will be doing this within the I'll be doing this over here because I want to demo it while I do it, right? It's easier to do a tutorial with code that you can see as we go. So pseudocode for paint mural. I start off by thinking about general ideas that we need. So I know right away, guys, to paint this mural, what do I need to do? I got one shape, right? And this is super broad. What actions need to happen? Well, once I paint one shape, super broad, paint another shape. Except I would need to what? Move forward. I don't know how many. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, right? Move forward 3. Paint another shape. And then I'm going to keep doing this till I'm at the end of the row. All right. So that gives me a clue right away that I'm going to do this as long as I am not hitting this edge. Bam. So I got my first line of pseudocode. And keep in mind, pseudocode, you want it in your words. It should look like code, not really, kind of. But it should also be simplified, so maybe someone a few years younger than you could understand. So while, I know I need to repeat it, while I'm going to try can move. While painter can move, right? Because as long as I can move, I haven't hit this, I need to paint that square, my shape. As long as I can move, and I got this out of order, right? Because I start on an empty square, right? So since I start on emptiness, since I start on emptiness, right, I need to do that first. So I got these out of order. But while the painter can move, what do I want to do? Paint the shape / pattern. And then what? Well, after I paint one, I need to move forward. And I said 3, I think. 1, 2, 3. So we have a blank in between. And I'll say that 3 times. Cool. So that would be my pseudocode for now. We obviously need a lot more, but let's start with this. I need to do the method signature. For a method signature, I've said this, but keep in mind we need the method name. So paint mural, we need parentheses and curly brackets. Now I need to finish this off. It does have a parameter, so string color. Cool. And then like all of these, so far we've only done it this way, so we'll continue with that. Public needs to go in front of it, and void. We haven't gone into that a ton. Public is the access modifier. It means we can use it outside of this class. Void means it doesn't give back a number or a string, it just does a thing. That being said, paint mural, color, cool. Let me get this logic in here. That's the nice thing about pseudocode. We have a plan. And I'm putting the word color here because we're going to pass an argument, right? There's going to be an argument here. And so whatever the user sets in the other class, that color will go there. Oh, and guys, I don't need to do paint, right? We can paint the shape, paint the pattern right here, right? We did that last level. We have that logic all ready to go. Perfect. Boom, it's like it builds on each other. So we're going to run that method from within this class because great. That way we can do it all with one command. All right. Then after we paint that whole shape, we move forward 3 times. And then after we move forward 3 times, I'm asking it to check if we can still move. This might cause an issue. I think we're going to hit a bug because we'll still hit the wall. But hey, let's find out. Fun thing about code is debugging. Well, the nice thing is you can be wrong all the time. I am. So now I can just use Paint Mural instead of Paint Pattern because it will run the pattern. Oh, good. We actually do stop in the right spot. So I really like to break out code to make it more readable. And a way to do that is using methods. So I'm going to create another method actually. And it says specifically that we can do this. And it's an excellent idea. So for my paint mural, what did I just do? I painted a row. And so that's actually, I'm going to create a method called, copy that, paste that, but I'll just say paint row. Okay. And then all this is going to be is what we just did. So I'm going to move this out of here and move it into this method. It will make things look cleaner, more readable. And what's really nice about methods is it gives you an idea of what something does without reading every line. So that being said, same deal here. Paint row. Cool. And I'm just going to take all of this. I'm going to do cut. I guess I could also drag it. Great. And now to do this in Paint Mural, I'll just say paint row. Okay. That takes care of this part. So now what do we need to do? Obviously, we need to turn and move down a few squares. If I'm thinking about this, though, I need to move down 1 and 2. However, since this will flip it upside down, right, we're facing the other direction, I know that actually we're going to have to move down and start painting from here, right? What I mean by that, notice the painter paints from the top corner here, which is great, but once we move down here, I believe it's going to flip. But let's test it. So right now I end here. Let's go ahead and say, what is that, a right turn? I want you to know that I just did my fingers up to figure that out. Hopefully I'm right. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Like the L to make sure it's left. Just saying. I don't know why I'm omitting this. Okay. I'm going to try doing it this way. I don't think that's enough. But hey, be wrong. It's code. I might throw in another one. I have a suspicion that it's actually 4. Oh, I need color. Oh, guess what I forgot? Turn right. Whoops, the daisies. Okay. So it is, notice that I start painting from 1 square down, and that is just because it's flipped and we're going the other direction. And if you dig into this, if you look at how we paint if you look at how we do paint pattern, right? We paint, move, and turn right. And so a right turn, once you're facing west, we're going to need to do that by painting here, moving forward, and turning right. And that's why we move forward an extra space. All right. So that looks good thus far. Once we're here, what do we need to do? Well, this is a bit different, right? Because now we're going to be facing east again. So instead of turning right, looks like I'm going to turn left, move, move. And now if I'm facing east, we know that for the eastward movement, right, to be able to paint the square, you start from this part of it, the top corner, not the bottom corner. So I should only move twice, I believe, and then turn left again. Then what do I want to do? Well, let's try painting a row. Yeah, so far so good. So keep in mind, now we're literally in the same spot. We need to move down and paint the next row. Okay. Oh, look, this is identical to this. Let me zoom out. It's identical. Because it should be, right? We're just going down. It's going to be the same style, painting a row facing east. And then after we paint that, after we turn and we're here, that's where this will get us. What do we need to do? We need to paint a row facing west. Well, that was the second thing we did. Let's try. And now this. Yeah. Now, I hope you're yelling right now. Because if you're copying and pasting in code, right, look, you can even, if I highlight these, boom, it shows me, hey, this is identical. highlight this. Hey, this is identical. If you're doing that, there's probably a better way for code, right? So let's think. Well, a loop, but you're going to want a condition for a loop. One way to do this is using a while loop and doing can move. I think that's going to cause an error eventually, but let's do that and then troubleshoot it. So since I'm not going to want to repeat myself, I'm going to delete this repeated code now. And now I'm going to go up here and I'm just going to write while, and I'm going to try doing can move, parentheses, boom, curly bracket, quapow. Except I'm going to delete the ending curly bracket, go all the way down here, add one back, and then format. Let me highlight this code, hit tab, just to get it formatted. All right. And again, guys, I think we might get an error from this, but code, test. Yep. And so what's this error happening? Why? Why is this happening to us? Well, we paint this row, which was going east, so we're right here at that point. No, we're right here. After we paint that row, we're right here, and it's gonna, because keep in mind, a while loop repeats all of the code inside as long as this thing is true. So we're asking the computer, hey computer, can we move? And up here it says, I don't know, boom, painter, true, yeah, you can move. Okay, then you must run this code. Paint the row, move, 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 turn right, we end up here, paint this row, zoop, and then we move, 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 and end up here, hit the bottom again, and it says, hey computer, can we move? And can we? Yeah, we're facing this way, that's true. So paint, 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 right? And so when we are done with this row, we're actually done with that row, we turn right, and we try to move 4 times, we smack into a wall. Well, how can we avoid this? We can use an if statement. However, before we even get there, I want to simplify this logic, because notice what's occurring. It's really annoying to me because we're going to paint a row, and then I'm going to just do a comment to show you what I mean. Turn, right? And we turn right, but yeah. And then we paint a row and we turn. So I hate, because this is almost repeating code. The direction's different, sure, right? The direction's definitely different, but this is almost repeating itself already. Paint row turn, paint row turn. And there's a way, I think, we could use a condition so we don't do this, right? Why don't we use an if statement for this turning thing? And let's take a look at what they gave us. So here are options that we could use. Methods I know are there. And if you look at these guys, these have a lot of potential to me, right? So is facing east, well, that returns a true false, it returns a boolean, and it sounds really good to me, because on this side, if I'm facing east, I know I have to do what? Turn right. If I'm not facing east, well, there was only one other option for my shape. If I'm not facing east, then what do I have to do? I have to turn left. So, based on that, I can do, and now I'm just going to grab this stuff. Let me tab, highlight, and I'm hitting the tab key. And now, as long as I'm facing east here, I absolutely have to run this. But I'll only run this if I am facing east. Now I can add an else statement, and that means, say I'm not facing east. Say I'm right here, okay? And the computer says, I ask the computer, hey computer, am I facing east? It would say, false, you're facing west. Well, if I'm facing west, it could not run this code because this is false. So it has to skip over that. But it would, since this is false, have to run whatever's in my else statement. And then, what is going to be in my else statement? Well, the code that I would need to run if I'm facing west. So now, this if statement would work, well, here. Let's actually get this. This whole if statement is basically move to the next row, right? I'm going to do another method. I'll call my next row. I mean, you can name these whatever you think is a good name. Maybe you hate my name. Oh, I don't need color because we're just doing movement. All right, next row. And now what I'm going to do is take all of this idea, all of these, this big if, and do a cut or Command X on a Mac, Control X on a PC. And then I'm going to right click and do a paste, Control V on a computer, Command V on a Mac. And let me just get this over. Because look how nice this is going to read. I love it when code reads pretty. All right. So now I can just do next row here. And then once I paint that row or do that row, I can do next row to move to the next one. We're still getting the error, which I expected, but first I want to highlight something. We're repeating ourselves again. There's no need. Look how clean this is. Bam. All right, that being said, how can we prevent this error? Well, we should make sure we can actually move before just letting the person or the painter move. So, what I would do, if can move, and check. Don't just let the painter move no matter what. And so if I do an if here, I want to do it for all of these. So I originally had these 4 moves. I'm about to kill them off. I'm just going to delete them because I'm now going to have 4 ifs, right? Because I'm just going to check before each move. So I'll still have a move just inside an if. So I'm just going to do a copy here. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Bam. And I know because if I'm not able to move, right, I don't want to suddenly turn right. That would lead to another error. I can show you why though. I'm also going to delete these 2 moves and this one. I only want to move if I know I can, if I'm not going to get an error. So those are gone, and I'm going to paste in what I already had here, my if I can move. Once and twice, there's my moves back there. Okay? Now, I want to prove to you this isn't perfect yet. Let's hit run. And that's why. What occurs here, guys, is that we won't be able to move, so it skips over this one and this one at the end, right? Because these are false, we can't move. But then it lets us turn right. And so we do. We turn right there, and it can't run the else. We ran the if, we did this part of it. And so it goes back up here, and we can keep painting, right? This is valid now. We don't actually want to turn right if we don't get to the correct spot. So I'm going to cut that and put it up here. I'll put both of the turn statements also in ifs, because if we're unable to move, I don't want to actually turn either. So since we added this next row, let me update pseudocode real quick. Okay, so pseudocode just says what the other code says, right? Just in easier language in pseudocode. If painter is facing east, turn right. If I can move 1, 2, 3, 4 up times, turn right again. Bam, bam, bam. And now let's update our paint mural finally, because what does paint mural do? Look how clean it is. While we can move, paint row color. Bam. Man, look at all this code we just did, guys. I hope you're really proud of yourself. Like, bam. That's a ton of stuff. And next row, painter, mural. Traditionally, I'm going to reorganize this. I hope you're really proud of yourself. Traditionally in JavaScript, you often want methods that run each other to be above. So since paint row actually uses paint pattern to be beneath. So in Java, usually a method that runs another method, you want it to be above it. So since this uses paint pattern, that's great. This uses paint row and next row, paint mural. So I'm just going to actually move it down. This isn't required at the moment, but it's good practice. I just moved it there. Anyways, look at all this. I'm going to hit this one more time. Cool. All right. So with that being said, I'm also, if you're going to switch this to white because I said I was going to do it exact. Also, I noticed in this document, the painter's facing left at the end, which whatever, that is definitely not required. But if you want to be a stickler for exact, all you need to do. Ta-da! Cool. Oh. And with that, victory! Onward!